Greetings of the day to all of our viewers. My name is Shantan Shivam Chakrabarti.
And I am Saransh Maheshwari. Today we are graced by the presence of Mr. Sushant Kohli for the second episode of UPES SP Student Chapter's Vodcast Spotlight.
Spotlight is an initiative started by the UPES SP Student Chapter to bridge the gap between the industry and academia by creating a platform for exchange of dialogue and experience between eminent industrial professionals and students.
Established in the year 2009, the chapter has been pushing forward with the drive to elevate the standards of excellence to unprecedented heights. And in recognition of our extensive efforts, we have been conferred with the SP Gold Standard Awards for 3 consecutive years, along with Presidential Award for Outstanding Student Chapters for 7 consecutive years by SP International. The chapter conducts plethora of events throughout the academic year. Each event seeks to provide unique opportunity for budding future professionals to augment their caliber, therefore staying true to our motto of enhancing competence.
On that very note, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to take this opportunity to introduce our guest for today, Mr. Sushant Kohli. Sir is currently working in the capacity of a coil tubing engineer and general technical specialist for well interventions for Baker Hughes, Saudi Arabia.
He attained his bachelor's degree in petroleum engineering from our alma mater UPES Dehradun. He is actively involved in planning, execution, design engineering, and on-site preparation as a Baker Hughes representatives for several coil tubing and pumping operations that are being conducted on Saudi Aramco's rig or rigless sites.
And that is just an undying testament to his industrial demeanor and expertise. Sir, it is indeed an honor.
Thank you so much, both of you, for the introduction. And I would first of all like to congratulate you guys for coming up with always something innovative. I congratulate this chapter for taking this much of initiative to reach out to the industry personnel, which for sure is not only beneficial for you personally, it's beneficial for like all the chapters, all the other petroleum engineering upcoming batches and the generations. So I always thank you for this, for your insatiable desire for the knowledge, for reaching out to people and sharing the experiences. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. On that very note, I would establish the quorum for today. Our discussion shall be themed on a discussion on well intervention techniques and a review of the current status of the oil and gas industry. Now, without any further ado, let's start with the questions.
Yeah.
Sir, you are in 13th batch of UPES. Now, the fact that the energy and the petroleum industry has undergone a cascading change ever since is unknown to us. Between now and then, how exactly has the industry reformed its demands from a petroleum engineering freshman? Also, sir, what skills are necessary to stay relevant in the current market?
Yeah, actually, this is, I would say, a very valid question at these current times. And most of the people and most of the younger generations stuck at this point. Because for sure, this is a very dynamic market as oil and gas by its own nature. And whether it comes to technology or market or economics, considering all the factors, right? So the demands from a freshman keeps changing. For sure, I passed out like way back. That time, the need of the hour and the time was something else. And for sure, as the markets evolve, technologies evolve, I would say I could see a major shift towards digitization, right? And that's something which is very popular these days. So for sure, when new technologies and when you see the shift in the market, then the demands from the freshmen and the eligibility criteria and what people look out in the market to make yourself more sellable and marketable, you need to pace up with that. So for sure, the focus must be more on the digitization part of the oil field, the digital oil field technologies. And data is the new game changer these days. So for sure, could be a lot of stress on data analytics and the AI tools. I mean, these all courses or certifications or like by hook or crook, if the freshman can get an opportunity to interact with these tools to know more about them, for sure it's gonna add a lot of value and give them an edge in the market.
Yeah, we'll have to agree with that, sir. I think your points are very valid, and everyone watching this interaction today should take due note of these points. Now, sir, being a veteran in the well intervention section, what should an undergraduate follow to land up a job in the same for any of the oil and gas joints? Also, how would you suggest to tackle the never-ending issue of accumulation of fill material in the lower side of the well bore in a horizontal well while considering a coil tubing unit?
Okay, I would like to take this question in two parts basically. The answer for the first one would be from my end. I would still not call me as a veteran, but yeah, I can say I acquired some experience because of the opportunities assigned to me. And yes, so when you talk about landing up in a job, like considering the well interventions department, I mean, first of all, it's like also majorly about the opportunity you have been given. Like for me, I was assigned to this department, but before I had a prior experience of interning with well interventions. That was a time when I had insight of what interventions look like, right? Because during college times we had a very little gist about these well intervention technologies, because it's also not practically possible to you know observe or experience those kind of visible operations while you're in the college until you land up on a field where these are being conducted, right? So basically, yes, you if you get a chance to intern or like get an exposure by anyhow, basically in college you can, the best thing is to look for an intern, and that would give you an insight for sure, because it is also the time for the guys to evaluate themselves during internships, whether because the well interventions is at least initially is not something which is an AC kind of a job, right? Like it's not, it's, you have to be in coveralls in most tough of the environments and high temperatures, abnormal conditions. So for sure you have to also look at your mechanical aptitude, your adaptability quotient, and all those factors, which internship for sure will help you to reevaluate yourself whether it is something which you would like to go ahead with or not. But for sure it's a very challenging environment. It's something which gives you the real feel, know how, and look and feel of the oil field. Yeah. So that is, I would suggest, if any of you land up with an intern and you can express your interest for well interventions. That is the first part of the question, and the second part is a bit technical. Yeah, you asked me about the fill deposition. Yeah, generally we have observed this issue, and whether when I was working in India as well. But yeah, when I'm working basically on fields of Saudi Aramco, where we mostly have those horizontal sections and laterals. So yeah, fill by its own tendency tend to develop in the horizontal sections, the laterals, and majorly at the heel point of the well. Yeah. So yes, when you talk about the technologies, I mean, there are like many special tools available in the market, because for the fill deposition, the most preferred kind of a flow regime is a turbulent flow. So there are many turbulence flow regime creating tools available in the market, which do this job. Basically, I can, just for your knowledge, I can name a few, like there's SpinCat, there's Rotojet, there are other some specific tools for this, which these what I named, like a tornado, what I named are the few which we use generally. Clubbed with them, we can use multiple wiper trips in the horizontal section, which for sure increases the efficiency of the clean out, and we end up with a cleaner hole if we do multiple wiper trips clubbed with these turbulence creating tools. This is something which I have experienced has really worked well in the industry, and with my experience as well.
Sure, sir. We will definitely keep this thing in our mind while being on intern. So, sir, you have a great knowledge about advanced oil field technologies like ISAP, Wireline tractor, and a downhole camera, which is altogether a new dimension in a wellbore. So, can you please throw some light on the same?
Okay, as you asked, these are some very like sophisticated tools being used for very specific tasks in our interventions. Like let's touch up with ISAP. This is basically inflatable straddle acidizing packer, ISAP, which we call as ISAP, right? So majorly this tool is used for, this is a kind of a straddle packer. You have, two packers, uh, at one at top and one at the bottom, and then you straddle that particular zone, or you isolate that particular zone for conducting selective stimulation sometimes. Yeah, where sometimes you don't want to stimulate the entire perforation zone, right? You just want to stimulate a part of that. So in that case, you straddle that particular zone and work in your desired zone. So ISAP, and generally in water injectors, it helps to achieve conformance, because all zones are not uniformly damaged. The formation damage is not the same across each zones, or they are not uniformly plugged. Some zones require, they are good enough, and some zones require intensive treatment. So in that case, it gives us an option to straddle that particular zone which needs to be treated, and you can pump your treatment, your design treatment into that particular zone. Yeah. And you come to wireline tractor. Yes, as by like wireline, slickline, all these technologies, these interventions, these are based on the gravity. So when you see like highly deviated zones, they have their own limitations. I mean, 60, 65 degree. I mean, it will be difficult to deploy them because they don't have any injecting mechanism like coil tubing to deploy them into horizontal sections, correct? So sometimes you use this wireline tractor. It acts like a taxi to deploy a tool string like into a horizontal section for doing logging, for perforating in the horizontal sections. Yeah, so this tractor enables you to pull your tool string downhole to those horizontal sections. Yeah, although I mean, this thing can also be replaced by, these days we also use a lot of telecoil. It gives you the same privileges to work the same way with more strength. But yeah, again, it's not only about technology, it's also about a lot of economics. It's a very costly intervention which involves telecoil. Yeah, so you always try to trade off when you pick up those technologies, when you choose those technologies, right? And downhole camera, for sure, it's just like a camera, like optical camera, right? I mean, generally we use this to diagnose certain restrictions, sometimes tubing collapse or the field deposition or something, to have a very clear picture and design the strategy for that particular well accordingly. Yeah.
All right, sir. After having discussed a few technical questions, we would like to ask you what our viewers actually want to, listen to. They're very concerned about the following questions. So, what were your views of a workplace before you got a job, versus what are they now when you have got one? What are the challenges that you have faced while shifting from campus life to a professional life?
So I would like to touch up on this in with a different approach. I mean, it's not just when we get this breakthrough into the industry, corporate, right from the college. It's not just only about the knowledge and the technical part of it, which we focus the most while we are in the campus, right? It's a lot about, I would say, to like make it a a layman statement. It's like a journey from a young college lad to a gentleman over the years. So you can put it that way. So I mean, you need to really focus a lot upon. You should be more like, apart from technical, also should be life skill oriented, to acquire those life skills, to work on your behavior, to work on your attitude. You should have a positive attitude. You should have a good adaptability quotient. You should learn those courtesies. I mean, for sure, it's not something which you can grow overnight. Of course, these are acquired skills which you keep on polishing each day you pass, right? But my only piece of, or my 2 cents of advice would be that we also should focus a lot on the life skills, the grooming part of it, because this is something which also give you an edge when you make your breakthrough, and it will create a base for you, even it will create a ladder for you to jump. Yeah, because things are not just technical which we look when we are in the campus, that if we are acing technically, if we are very good technically, we are sound that way, so we should disregard the other factors. For sure technical will give you an edge, but it will be a cherry on the cake if you polish those skills as well. So this is a way to build up a positive attitude. Yeah, I mean, that's what I could relate it with my experience as well.
All right. So, I mean, that is something that might just help all the freshmen who have joined us recently, because they're very concerned about the entire transition phase that comes in between becoming a professional from a student. Sir, on that very note, the COVID-19 pandemic has left the industry in a state of utter disarray, and the paucity of employment opportunities is a live testimony to that. With the current wave of green technology adaptations being implemented at various big shots of the industry, can we concur that a largely technical and specific degree like that of applied petroleum engineering or petroleum engineering might just become obsolete over the years? Is the future gloomy for us, sir?
So again, I would like to answer this big question in various parts, actually. So firstly, let's touch up upon this COVID-19 situation, pandemic situation, right? I mean, this is unforeseen kind of situation. This is something which nobody could predict, and which changed the entire complete scenario, upside down, and affected industry in, like, it's not only just one point where the industry was hit. I mean, in every possible way, the industry is hit. Not only oil and gas. I mean, most of the industries are hit by this, right? So this is something which is very unforeseen, and you may very well call it, God's act, right? So you don't have much control over that. You just can stay strong and keep that positive outlook that this time will pass and things will be good for everyone, and we can just wish and pray. And secondly, coming to this point of green technology adoptions, yes, even this is not something new. Even you can see there is a lot of focus, and that focus is keep increasing, where you can see a lot of investment being made by even by super major oil and gas companies into you know green technologies, and also diverting their attention towards cleaner fuels. And there is even a lot of pressure to reduce the carbon footprint and etc etc. You can see a lot of activity being done in this sector, right? But at the same time, it also doesn't mean that it will make you as a petroleum engineer obsolete, right? It You can't think that way, for sure, because this is true with every sector. I will make it try to make it more clear, taking an example of IT industry, right? This is a industry you must have seen is so dynamic that it evolves overnight. you know Technologies change every third day. People reach office and they get to know there is a new technology in the market, right? Programs change, technologies change, languages change, right? But that doesn't make people who are working in the industry, IT industry, obsolete, right? So you have to basically think it this way, that petroleum engineer, okay, if you break this term into two, if even if for a while you keep this petroleum away, but you are still an engineer, you have acquired those engineering skills while you were in the campus, you invested your 4 years, which gives you a technical angle to think, which make you more adaptable with those technologies, which gives you a technical mindset, which gives you a technical grasp, right? Basically, it's more like you are developed, you are schooled to think that way, that particular technical way, right? And that doesn't affix you to one particular thing. If you develop that mindset, I mean, that's the entire idea about even about education, right? To it's not just about to stick you to one particular subject to make you an educated person, to develop those kind of skill sets, to develop that grasp, to develop that kind of mindset. Correct. So if you focus in campus, and you have to think not just a petroleum engineer, you are an engineer first, right? You will see a lot of people even at the campus having a different degree, but they got an opportunity into some other sector, right? Upstream people going to downstream, as depends upon the opportunity they came across, right? They going to renewables, even most of them going to ITs, where they are working as business analysts or the domain consultants or something like that. That doesn't mean they haven't proved themselves well in the past, right? So you have to keep terming it as an obsolete or thinking that the future is gloomy is not the right approach to life, I would say, right? Even in the upstream industry tomorrow, let's say I work on coil tubing, or something else come in, or the new technologies evolve each day. So I have developed that kind of a mindset. Like every professional like me would just like to grasp the new technology and make myself adaptable as soon as possible, and that totally depends upon how open I am to those, right? So you have to basically in campus, I know it's difficult, it's just easier said than done, because you are too choosy and picky about your branch, because we have those kind of mindsets that we are studying this for 4 years, so how can we look beyond that, right? But that's not the right approach, I would say. You should not think like that. Every person who is at campus should be really open in this kind of an open world. People who are working into IT, into analytics and something else, and they are doing well. I mean, it's not that they are also not doing well in their career. They are acing their careers as well. Yeah. So, I mean, you should look at that part of it.
Well, sir, you have cleared most of the students' doubt over this topic. They were very concerned about this, that if we have a gloomy future or not.
Yeah. So future is actually not gloomy. It's all about how you build it. Sometimes it's also about the opportunities you came across. But what matters the most is that there are certain things which are not which are beyond your control. But there are certain things, your attitude, right? If you have that open and positive attitude, you will try to take up an opportunity and build your career in the right direction. And after a few years, you would think that I was wrong when I was closed. So yeah, I mean, this is what I could add to it.
Okay, sir. With that, we have elapsed our time for this discussion. It was an honor for us to have you interact with us today.
Thank you so much once again, UPSSP chapter. I mean, I am always obliged to visit you guys and come across you most of the time, because also you guys take a lot of initiative to create those kind of bridges for the students. I mean, it's highly appreciable. I congratulate you for all your efforts to do that, and I wish you all the very good luck. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. That means a lot to us. I would like to extend a token of gratitude on behalf of the UPSSP student chapter to you. I'm sure that our viewers could take something back from this conversation that we have had today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.